On the first day of school in January 2012, staff at Riverwood Public School in Sydney, Australia, made a shocking discovery in the playground's cubby house, a large pool of blood covering the floor. When police arrived, they estimated the pool to be over 30 centimeters wide, totaling approximately 1.5 liters. Investigators noted the blood appeared relatively fresh, as it was neither fully wet nor completely dry. Despite an extensive search of the area, police found no body, weapon, or any evidence indicating what might have caused the bloodshed. As part of the investigation, they collected blood samples and dismantled the cubby house for further forensic testing. DNA analysis later revealed the blood likely belonged to a child or a young adult male. However, the sample did not match any profiles in the police's DNA databases. Superintendent Stephen Blackmore addressed the media, stating, "From the amount of blood found within the cubby house, we strongly suspect the victim sustained a very significant injury and most likely would not have been able to get up and walk away from the area." He explained that investigators had searched hospital records for anyone treated for injuries consistent with such significant blood loss, but found no matches. Police also reviewed recent missing persons cases and student absentee records from local schools, yet these efforts yielded no leads. Now, more than 13 years later, the case remains a mystery. With no new evidence or witnesses, authorities fear the truth behind the blood in the cubby house may never be uncovered. On January 28, 1981, the body of a young unidentified woman was discovered in Bossier Parish, Louisiana. A man named John Chesham had taken his 2 children hunting in the area when he directed them toward a particular path. Moments later, the children returned screaming, having stumbled upon the body. The woman was found in a wooded area, just off a public logging trail. She had been stabbed 9 times, with the murder weapon left beside her. Due to the advanced decomposition, authorities estimated she had been dead for 4 to 7 weeks. Investigators determined the victim was likely white, or possibly of indigenous ancestry. She was believed to be between 15 and 21 years old, standing approximately 5 feet 5 inches, and weighing between 125 and 140 pounds. Her shoulder-length hair was blonde, but her eye color could not be identified due to decomposition. She had undergone orthodontic work at some point, but her braces had been removed improperly, suggesting it was not done by a professional. The young woman was dressed in jeans, a beige hooded sweater, and a long-sleeved shirt with yellow, pink, and blue stripes. Her belt featured a distinctive buffalo nickel buckle, and she wore size 7 sneakers. The sneakers stood out to investigators because they were covered with multiple names, suggesting they may have been passed between individuals who signed their names on the shoes. Despite this lead, police were unable to track down anyone connected to the names. Without any identification or witnesses, the woman remained unidentified and was given the nickname Bossier Doe. Authorities released details about the case, hoping someone would recognize her or provide information about the murder. At one point, the grandmother of 17-year-old Carol Ann Cole contacted Louisiana police, suspecting that the unidentified woman might be her missing granddaughter. However, police assured her that Bossier Doe was not Carol. In an effort to generate new leads, police created a composite sketch of what the young woman might have looked like, but it produced no results. For decades, the case remained cold. 34 years later, on February 6, 2015, the Bossier Parish Sheriff's Department launched a Facebook page dedicated to Bossier Doe, hoping renewed public interest might finally provide answers. The page quickly gained traction, accumulating over 500 followers in just a few days and doubling within a week. That same day, a 911 operator named Linda Erickson came across the Facebook page. The image of Bossier Doe immediately caught her attention. She recalled seeing a Craigslist post about a missing woman named Carol Ann Cole, who had vanished in the early 1980s. Linda contacted the police, convinced that Bossier Doe and Carol were the same person. Investigators traced the Craigslist post to a woman named Patty Thorington, a friend of Carol's sister. Patty and Carol's family had spent years searching for her. The sheriff's department reached out to Patty and requested DNA samples from Carol's relatives. When the test results came back, they confirmed that Bossier Doe was indeed 17-year-old Carol Ann Cole. After 34 years of uncertainty, Carol's family finally had answers. A GoFundMe campaign was launched to cover the costs of Carol's headstone and the transportation of her remains. On June 18, 2015, Carol's loved ones gathered to give her a proper funeral and lay her to rest. Despite finally identifying Bossier Doe, Carol's murder remains unsolved to this day. The search for her killer continues. On November 22, 1987 in Chicago, Illinois, WGN-TV Channel 9 was broadcasting its 9 o'clock news when the signal was unexpectedly hijacked. During a highlight segment covering the Chicago Bears' home victory over the Detroit Lions, the screen suddenly went black for 15 seconds. When the broadcast resumed, viewers were met with a bizarre sight. A person wearing a Max Headroom mask, a character known from 1980s television as a computer-generated TV personality. The masked figure appeared in front of a backdrop of moving, corrugated metal, mimicking the signature background from the Max Headroom show. The only sound accompanying the image was a loud, droning buzz. The interruption lasted less than a minute before WGN engineers managed to regain control by changing the station's broadcast frequency. Later that night, at around 11:15 p.m., the hijacker struck again, this time targeting PBS station WTTW Channel 11 during an episode of the British sci-fi series Doctor Who. The signal was replaced with static, followed by the appearance of the same masked figure. Unlike the earlier interruption, this broadcast included distorted, crackling audio. The masked intruder made several cryptic remarks, including a reference to WGN sports pundit Chuck Swirsky. WTTW, which transmitted its signal from the top of the Sears Tower, was unable to stop the hijacker due to the powerful microwave signals being used to override the broadcast. Complicating matters further, there were no engineers on duty at the Sears Tower during the hijacking, leaving the station defenseless against the intrusion. Despite an extensive investigation, the hijackers were never caught, and their identities remain a mystery to this day.
Chuck Swirsky, oh, Jesus. What's the way? They're giant masterpiece for all the greatest world newspaper nerds. My brother is wearing the other one, but it's naughty. What you got footprints on? We're gonna go, they're coming to get me.
On March 8, 2014, Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 departed from Kuala Lumpur International Airport, scheduled to arrive at Beijing Capital International Airport. The aircraft, a Boeing 777, carried 239 people on board, 227 passengers, and 12 crew members. The flight initially proceeded as expected, but at 1:19 a.m., the co-pilot made the final known communication with air traffic control, saying,
Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9, good night. Good night, Malaysian 370.
Just minutes later, the plane's transponder was turned off, and the aircraft deviated from its planned flight path, heading west instead of north toward Beijing. Shortly after, the plane disappeared from radar systems, sparking confusion and alarm. The sudden and unexplained disappearance triggered one of the largest and most expensive search operations in aviation history, with multiple countries joining the effort. Initial search efforts focused on the South China Sea, where the plane was last seen on civilian radar. However, subsequent military radar data revealed that the aircraft had crossed the Malay Peninsula and turned southward into the Indian Ocean. Analysis of satellite signals indicated that the plane likely continued flying for several hours after losing contact with air traffic control. Based on these findings, investigators concluded that the plane probably crashed somewhere in the southern Indian Ocean, west of Australia. Over the years, several pieces of debris confirmed to be from MH370 were discovered along various coastlines. In July 2015, a flaperon from the plane washed ashore on Reunion Island. Additional wreckage later appeared along the shores of Mozambique, Tanzania, Madagascar, and South Africa. Despite these discoveries, the main wreckage, including the fuselage, cockpit, and flight recorders, has never been located, leaving investigators with more questions than answers. The mysterious disappearance of MH370 has led to numerous theories about what might have happened that night. One theory suggests a catastrophic mechanical failure, such as a fire, electrical malfunction, or sudden decompression, which may have incapacitated the crew and passengers, leaving the plane to fly on autopilot until it ran out of fuel and crashed into the Indian Ocean. Another theory involves hijacking, as initial reports revealed that 2 passengers had boarded the flight using stolen passports, raising concerns about possible terrorism. However, investigators found no credible links to terrorist activity or any organized plot. The most widely discussed theory revolves around the pilot, Zahari Ahmad Shah. Some investigators believe the pilot may have deliberately diverted and crashed the plane. This theory gained traction after reports surfaced about marital difficulties and personal distress Zahari allegedly experienced. Some sources claimed his wife had caught him flirting with women on social media, and that the flight simulator at his home mirrored MH370's suspected final path over the Indian Ocean. The fact that the plane's transponder, which requires manual deactivation from inside the cockpit, was turned off further fueled this theory. However, Malaysian authorities found no evidence of malicious intent or a clear motive for such an act. In 2018, the Malaysian government released its final report on the disappearance. The report concluded that investigators were unable to determine the exact cause of the crash. It criticized lapses in air traffic control procedures and highlighted the delayed response to the emergency, but ultimately did not assign blame to any individual or event. To this day, the fate of Flight MH370 remains a mystery. On January 25, 2015, Reddit user Disco Godfather 6922 made a post on the Salt Lake City subreddit, sharing a picture of Funtime Kids Care, a daycare located in Salt Lake City, Utah, known for its distinctive appearance. The building stands out with its bright green walls, purple doors, and yellow trim, along with windows placed in unusual spots. These windows are covered with children's drawings, preventing anyone from seeing inside. In the post, Disco Godfather claimed to have lived nearby for 5 years without ever seeing any children playing outside or having fun. The playground behind the daycare, he noted, always seemed empty. Soon, other Salt Lake City locals joined the discussion. One user, claiming to be a letter carrier, said they had been inside the daycare and confirmed it was operational. "The only strange thing," the user wrote, "is that no matter what time of day I showed up with their mail, it always seemed to be nap time." Another user claimed to know someone who had broken into the facility out of curiosity. Inside, they allegedly found a single room containing a chair facing a television screen, which displayed a live feed of another room within the building. As the thread gained traction, more locals chimed in, insisting the daycare was just a normal business. However, these reassurances raised further suspicion when users noticed that many of the accounts defending the daycare were newly created, often only hours old. The post was later deleted, causing the discussion to spread to other subreddits. The growing mystery eventually caught the attention of Vice Media, which published an article in 2016 exploring the conspiracy theories surrounding Funtime Kids Care. The article delved into wild claims that the building was a front for drug trafficking, an organ harvesting operation, or even a CIA black site. Its publication only intensified the speculation, causing the theories to spread even more rapidly online. Eventually, records obtained from child care licensing at the Utah Department of Health confirmed that Funtime Kids Care is a legitimate, functioning daycare facility, nothing more. However, that hasn't stopped people from speculating and making conspiracy theories about what might really go on inside the building to this day.